Hello everyone, this is your Karma and I'm back with the ultimate weapon tier list. And now, let's get to the rules. The first rule is pretty basic. I have to use every single weapon in the game. The second rule is I can only use one soul, so there's no soul changing, and that one soul is the traitless.
Karma? There's a small problem.
Yeah, what is it?
Traitless Soul sucks ass. We're too slow.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Just look. I can't even catch up without getting destroyed by a bunch of bones. The blue soul just makes this so much worse.
Oh. But I mean, is that really that bad?
Yes, Karma, it's that bad. Can we please use a soul?
Okay, then what soul should we use then?
Can we at least use integrity, please?
Fuck it. Integrity it is then. Just give me a sec. Well, that should do the trick. Back to the rules we go. Only sense we will use is passive full upgraded. Did I mention it? I'm pretty sure I did. Because I'm not going to be the only one who will test these weapons, because I'm having a collab with Chrono, who will help a lot with this video. He is the reason that this video is like this. So again, big thanks for Chrono. So Chrono, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chrono, a friend of Karma who was helping out with this video. You'll see Karma kicking my ass or vice versa. And I'm looking forward to potentially being part of more projects like this.
Thank you, Chrono. Okay, and with that, let's get into the video. Just one more thing, go subscribe to Chrono's YouTube channel, link in the description. Very important, we tiered every weapon as a casual player, not someone who experienced with the weapon. So if you see your weapons at the low rank, that doesn't mean the weapon is bad. If you guys want more of Chrono, then 50 likes on this video and I'll make another one. Okay, so first of all we got the stick. What do you think about it, Chrono?
The stick is a mediocre weapon. Its overall abilities are alright in comparison to the fact of its status as a starter weapon. The talk ability and determination are simple and easy to grasp, so it has a very quick learning curve overall, and I would say it's probably a D tier weapon due to the fact its pitiful damage and overall kind of lackluster abilities that can be effective but are definitely lacking compared to weapons further down the line.
Yeah, thank you, Chrono. I agree with the most of the thing you said. So D tier it is, and let's get to the... Okay, we got the toy knife, which I'm suck at this, so... And I never really use this, I don't really know, but I would put it in C tier, at least, I think. But that's my opinion. What's your opinion, Chrono?
The toy knife is a decent weapon. It has a slightly higher learning curve due to its rhythm mechanic that takes some time to get used to, not to mention its point system for upgrade attacks and the shield you get for landing well-timed strikes on assailants, along with its pierce rend abilities, make it a solid C tier weapon. You don't see it much in the high tiers due to its overall lackluster damage and requiring of rhythm mechanics, which definitely can be difficult to focus on that and dodging at the same time. So I think C is a good place for this weapon.
I mean, yeah, the damage is really that bad. Then C tier it is.
Nice.
Next up is... Tough Glove, my first lover. I really love that weapon, but it got reworked. I think it got nerfed too with that, so that changes things. What do you think about it? I think it have to be going to B tier or at least C under.
Alright, Karma, I think that the Tough Glove is definitely probably somewhere along A tier due to its abilities and such. It's a very powerful weapon, to say for sure.
Wait, really? I mean, I didn't expect that, but sure, elaborate.
A bit of nerf, especially considering its increasing nerfs over the days, it seems. Overall, I would have put this in A tier a few days ago before the rework. However, I'm going to put this at probably the top of B tier. It's still an incredibly effective weapon, however, it's definitely not as powerful as it used to be, with Bonebreaker getting more nerfs along with a few buffs, and Reversal continuing to lose the amount of damage that it can actually absorb. So overall, I think this is a solid B tier weapon. What do you think, Karma?
Well, the only thing I wanted to add is to not really be solid B tier, I would say bottom of the B tier if you agree with that, and let's get to the next one. Ballet shoes, huh? Well, I never really use it, so Chrono, the stage is yours.
The ballet shoes are an alright weapon. I didn't really get to use them much before the rework, so I can't really say how much of it has affected. However, the new dropkick mechanic that comes out of not being able to sprint all the time, or basically a replacement to you just using a crappy version of the Renegade while sprinting, and its halt mechanic has interesting potential with dealing damage. However, the end lag it gives definitely leaves it for being a very punishing move if you fail to use it effectively. So I would say this is probably lower B tier. Definitely, I feel like the glove is a lot easier to use overall and has a lot more potential with its shield mechanic that it gets. But overall, I think the lower B tier is a good choice. What do you think, Karma?
Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't really work out. Big risk, little reward. So I have to say it's a little bit worse than Tough Glove. So any ballet shoes, enjoy all three of you. I'm sorry.
Heroes never die.
Ah yes, the frying pan, one of the strongest weapon in the game, I think, with the right hand. I think the only thing that keeps it back is the hitboxes. What do you think, Chrono?
The Burnt Pan for me is definitely a top of A tier weapon. Its healing capabilities are incredibly powerful with proper team coordination. The healing like up to 18 health per person with full ingredients, not to mention the crit mechanic that can heal allies or give you full ingredients. And Preserve is just an amazing tool for just ignoring damage or deleting projectiles. Especially is effective on stuff like Dustfell or Disbelief and being able to outright delete their spinners. Basically removing a key camping.
Yeah, I agree. A tier at least, and max at least like bottom of S tier. But yeah, let's go put the strong A tier, I say. Yes. Torn notebook, best weapon. I really love it. I mean, not the best, but you know, with the rework, man, it's so much more better. The old one was sucked. It was so bad when I first saw it. I didn't even use the old rework one because it was so bad. I didn't even want to try it. Man, that was fucked up. But I still suck at it, like anything else. What do you think, Chrono? What's your opinion on this weapon?
The notebook in the right hands is probably an incredibly powerful tool. However, me and Karma are not exactly the best notebook users and find that its skill cap is definitely a lot higher, and we are definitely on the low end of the skill cap. But overall, it definitely requires a lot more learning and has a much steeper learning curve compared to the other weapons that are surrounding the Torn Notebook. Overall, it has a lot of potential, and it can be a very powerful weapon, and probably in the right hands can outclass the Burnt Pan. But I'm going to be, due to its higher learning skill cap overall and the steepness of that learning curve, I'm going to put this in A tier, but below the Burnt Pan.
Okay, turn book, A tier under the pen. Empty gun? Oh yeah. The only thing I'm madly good at, and still suck at it somehow. And the roll, that's great, I love that. And the purge, great, I love the rework. I didn't expect to rework it because they reworked it now already once, but who cares? It's a rework, that's good most of the time. What do you think, Chrono?
Alright, Karma, we know how much you love the empty gun, but honestly, I have to agree. It's a very versatile weapon, and its recent overall upgrades it's gotten with the new Purge ability make it a decent and effective weapon. While the hitbox is very narrow, and that's the main thing that is a drawback for me, is just how narrow it is, and especially with server-side lag, it can be hard to hit your targets effectively sometimes due to that, and getting screwed over due to that type of lag. But the extra roll and lasso definitely make this a very aggressive weapon that can combo well with other type of utilities within the toolkit, especially if you have somebody charge up an attack to combo with a lasso to pull them in. It really does depend on how you use this thing. So I think this is a top B tier weapon overall. Its janky hitbox at times definitely leaves it more to the imagination, but overall, it's a very effective weapon with a few downsides that holds it back for me.
Thank you, Chrono. So where should we put it? I think it should be between the Torn Book and the Pen, in the A tier, I say. Hey guys, look, it's the spear. It's just 1 week away. If you get the joke, you get it. If you don't, then don't. Well, I don't know. I never really used the spear, so what do you think, Chrono?
Similar to the notebook, this weapon is definitely one that requires a bit more skill in order to effectively use all of its abilities and mode switch. But overall, I would say its damage and abilities are a very powerful combination at least. And I've seen a few good spear users kick ass with this thing. I'm going to say this is definitely a lower A tier weapon due to its skill cap and overall learning curve. It's a decent weapon with a good potential, but I think that some weapons are easier and more effective to use quicker and with less overall learning curve to use them. As somebody that likes to switch around weapons constantly, this is not a weapon I switch to a lot due to that learning curve.
Okay, then a lower A it is. Ooh, the Worn Dagger. Well, I mean, I used it. It's fun, I think. The slide mechanic it really helps, and the most of the swords are pretty good.
The Worn Dagger is definitely an interesting weapon. It does require a decent bit of skill and has a alright skill gap, or at least learning curve with it. But I think that this weapon is a bit more easier to use than the spear, and its abilities definitely help with as a very aggressive frontline weapon. Especially comboing it with stuff like Bravery can give you 2 mobility options along with the added mobility from Integrity or Justice. So being able to keep pressure on the enemy while also having a backup option of Kindness Shield. I think this is a good versatile rusher weapon, and I think that it definitely is a lower A tier. What do you think, Karma?
Lower A tier, huh? Okay. I agree, let's get to it. Okay, the Trident. Well, I don't know how are you with this Chrono, but the Trident by itself is really bad. I mean, it's really not a very good weapon. I mean, before the rework, you got all animation and stuff, it was so much more worse, but you know, I think it's good. I think it's not the best, but it can be worse, I think.
The Trident is definitely a alright weapon. Its slowness and increased health definitely makes it a tank type of weapon, so it kind of requires at least some type of weapon with a speed boost in order to want to basically even be getting close to the sands unless other characters can help block them off. But overall, its slow attack speed and high damage definitely makes it require timing, as you typically need to attack a second before you get in range in order to land an effective strike without giving them much chance to just run away. But its range abilities, like its throw, are very powerful, especially with the lingering fire damage that it can cause, along with the firewall, which are good for protection and area denial. Overall, I think this is a top of B tier weapon. I personally find myself using the Worn Dagger a little bit more in comparison, overall due to the slower playstyle it requires, and as that's not really my type of playstyle, I don't really see myself going towards this very much unless I'm using something like Bravery in order to do a dash attack. The real knife definitely may seem overrated, but it also is overall just an effective weapon. It's decent, it has a good attack speed, it has the same range as the Worn Dagger, and its main abilities are pretty powerful overall, especially insurance. Being able to get back health for landing an effective dash attack overall can keep you in the fight longer than some of the healing weapons, especially if you're able to time it properly and land all of your extinguishes or executions. Not to mention just the range damage. This is definitely an anti-camping weapon, especially with the dash attack that you actually don't take damage if you land the attack, basically, since it will reset your health. And Hemorrhage just can flood the sands with projectiles if they're trying to hide in a boat zone. And while the fight spam has definitely been nerfed, thank God, it's definitely needed, this is still a very effective weapon, and I would definitely put it in A tier. What do you think, Karma, about the real knife?
Yeah, I agree. Real knife is a really good weapon, and it should go into top of A tier, I say. Top of A tier. Bonk!
The Fresh Bat is a great weapon, incredibly simple and easy to use, with a very minimal learning curve for how to effectively use it outside of just learning the distance of your fur bomb, and overall is a very effective weapon with high damage and high mobility with its poof, especially comboed with like Bravery.
You only like Fresh Bat because of the mobility, do you?
Yes, Karma, I know. I talk about mobility a lot. I like being a fast killing machine. But besides that, this is a good, effective, high damage weapon. It's probably one of my personal favorites to use overall, as it could really bully an opponent, especially if you have multiple Fresh Bats and the potential to basically bounce between each other. And overall, it has effective damage overall, and I think this is definitely a A-tier weapon on the real knife.
Okay, let's put it into the A tier, and let's get to it. Bonk!
The Horror Axe is an interesting weapon. I haven't really used it outside of getting the achievement that it pertains to, but it's a interesting weapon. Definitely has a bit of a learning curve in order to get the distance correct on those dash attacks, and it's a very effective weapon if you can do those with a pretty high damage and the healing, being able to get bone marrow or stuff from enemies, and also whenever your allies die. Gives you decent protection and a insurance policy kind of with those. Not to mention cloning ability is an effective tool that can... Overall, this is probably a upper B tier weapon, I would say. What do you think, Karma?
B tier? Oh wait, we're doing this as casual players. Oh well, yeah, then in that case, then yeah, it's more like B tier. I really love it. If we would have for skill like the best of the best, it would have been at least a A tier or at least S tier in my book. Oh well, B tier it is. Human, I remember your snow graves.
Alright, Snowy. I know a lot of people don't like this thing, and it's definitely gotten a much deserved nerf. And I still think it's an effective weapon. Its Ice Shock spam ability is very effective. Its healing is still top of the line. Only getting close to, I think getting close would be the Burnt Pan. And the Sleeping Mist is alright. I've definitely used Ice Shock and heal much more than the Mist, as its AoE is an alright size and for a slowing mechanic. And personally, I think this is a solid B tier, upper B tier to lower A tier weapon. What do you think, Karma? I'm indecisive on this.
100% bottom A tier, and let me tell you why. Even when you have a snow ring player, you have to tunnel the snow ring user, because the healing is so good for other people. For yourself it's really bad, but you have to tunnel that guy out. You just forced to. Wait, tunnel. Oh my god, is that by that all over again?
Alright, the Killer Knife. The Killer Knife is honestly a pretty effective basic weapon. You get a single slash attack until your third progression, which you can use a teleport. And then, of course, there's the fourth stage with its execute, doing 60 stamina damage, which is an impressive amount that can definitely cripple any late stage battle with the Sands. It's probably around that threshold of stamina. Overall, it's an effective, relatively easy to use weapon that can definitely help a lot, especially with those slowing mechanics, and especially with level 2 where it'll start doing damage. And then of course the Termination Overload strike is definitely a devastating attack. I would say this is definitely a mid A tier weapon. What's your word on it, Karma?
Nothing that I can say about it. It's a very easy weapon to use. It's easy to understand and grasp. Yeah, mid 8 tier. Let's slap it in there.
The Chaos Sabers are a very simple weapon. You have a dash attack and you have a teleport slam that you can use, and this is basically the definition of a rush weapon. It's basically a good weapon if you want to scoop out your frontal lobe and just continue playing the game, as it basically is just rush at the enemy and avoid attacks. And that's about it. Pick off enemies if you land your teleport attack near them, give them shield, and in return for using your hearts and basically just having to get back your speed boost. But overall, it's a very powerful weapon. There's a reason why it requires 500 wins, as it has some of the highest damage in the game if you don't include the Killer Knife. And with the speed at which you can attack and the speed boost you get for landing attacks, makes it definitely a lethal rush weapon. It's definitely an A-tiered weapon, even if it basically can be used by people that are brain dead.
Wow, Chrono, did you just reference Undertale of 87? Accident? Oh wow, you can do that. But yeah, I agree, 8 tier.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Chrono? Oh yeah, Chrono is on coffee break. Okay, well, looks like I'm the only one who can talk about Mr. Cleaver. The Cleaver I don't really use, so I don't have much information about it. I don't really use it, it's really not my playstyle. So with very small amount of knowledge and with a grain of salt, let's put this in, please don't hate me Cleaver mains, but it's going to be in a C tier.
Coffin K is a fun weapon overall. It's a very interesting one. That's the only one that actually has a active resource mechanic that if you don't manage, you lose the weapon. So basically, it requires you to be a rusher, considering you only can get that mischief meter back by landing your attacks. Basically meaning that effectively you can easily be stalled out depending on who you're fighting, as your opponent can easily just keep you out of range in order to effectively maximize your downfall. And if you end up getting camped out and you lose your Coffin K, kind of fucked, because you're stuck with fists. And as much as we like to meet about how good the fists are, you're not gonna win with fists. But that's my thoughts on it. What about you?
Yeah, I don't really use Coffin K because I always losing my weapons, so and I always use fist, so at that point I'm just doing fist. But sure, I think it's a strong weapon if you combine with patience. It can be a very annoying weapon, which isn't probably what the developers intended to do. So, yep, let's have this weapon. Fuck, I don't know, somewhere. Well, that's everything, and we didn't still put nothing at the S tier. There's only one thing I'm at the S tier, but what should that be? Okay, I think it should be.
Alright, now here's the real number 1 S tier. Little Sans, right here. This is the guy.
Really? Little sense? Okay, fine. But I still feel like I miss someone. But who could that be? Why do I hear bass music?
Know your fucking place, trash!
Well, this is the end of the video. Thank you everyone for watching. Big shout out for Chrono for helping me in this video. Go subscribe to his channel. 850 likes and maybe we'll do this again. And see you in the next one.